Our friend Alexi Lalas dropped a video on his State of the Union YouTube channel called "Would the US men's national team be able to win the Euros if they played in it this summer?" I have not seen this video yet. I have no idea what he's going to say, what his arguments are. I'm going to give y'all my blind reaction to his take in this video right now. But before we do that, I have to remind you guys that we're doing a ton of content here on Deadball TV, mainly about the Copa America, but we are making content covering the European Championship. So if you don't want to miss those videos, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, Godspeed. Let's get into this. I'll be pausing momentarily to give y'all my thoughts. Let's get it.
Hey, Alexi and Mossy, it's Chase from Dallas. I'm back. Question for both of y'all. Alexi, you said in the past that the best MLS team could finish mid-table in the Premier League. Let's take it to the international.
Oh, man. We haven't even gotten to the actual question yet, and I already got a problem. Now, I understand that Alexi Lalas has to ride for MLS, but to say something so asinine it's not helping American football culture, is it? No, it's not. Now, is Deadball TV helping? That's also debatable.
International side, where do you think the U.S. men's national team would finish in the Euros this year?
Okay, well, first off, welcome back. We love return callers, so thank you, Chase. Good to hear from you again, so keep them coming.
I'm calling in next show
because you've done it again. You've made the show, and another interesting question when it comes to this U.S. men's national team. It's fun to play these different games. All right, so when you look at some of these teams and some of these groups, and yes, there are the FIFA rankings and all that kind of stuff, but I would put them ahead of the likes of Scotland. I would put them ahead of the likes of Hungary and Switzerland.
Nope. No. Scotland, yes, I would put the United States ahead of Scotland, but to, with so much confidence, say that the U.S. is better than Hungary and Switzerland. The Swiss, look, bro, they don't have a bunch of massive stars on that team, but if you've ever watched an international tournament, you know the Swiss get up. I mean, there's a reason those guys used to protect the Pope, for God's sake. They do not have a fear of death, and when they're in these major tournaments, they always step up. Do you really think the U.S. men's national team is upsetting France in a European championship like the Swiss did? I just don't ever see that happening. I'm sorry. And before you say, Jack, you dirty Benedict Arnold hating asshole, why do you never have faith in the U.S.? It's not because I hate the United States or because I'm one of those people that's like, I can't wait to move out of here. It's because we've never seen the U.S. pull a big upset like that, at least this generation. We've seen very impressive wins in 2002. We've seen wins, if you want to call it upset wins, against Algeria. All of those players now have kids who are going to college. Congratulations, Tim Howard. But this current generation has not done something that the Swiss have done. And Hungary was literally 1 point away, 1 point behind Italy from going to the Nations League semifinal in 2023, and the other teams in that group were Germany and England. Now, if you want to make the argument that European teams don't really care that much about the Nations League, I think that's a bit of a cop-out, but whatever, granted. I still think the United States, in that setting, having to play 3 away legs, one in Italy, one in Germany, and one in England, probably ain't finishing second with 10 points, bro. And I'm not saying that Switzerland dunks on the U.S. I'm not saying Hungary dunks on the U.S., but I'm just saying to be so brazen and say, oh, we're better, I don't know. Jeez Louise, we're 1:07 in.
Albania,
Yes.
Denmark, Slovenia, Poland.
I can't, bro. Oh, the glass is coming on. No, I can't. You really think the United States is better than Denmark? On what grounds, sir? Yes, Denmark had a very horrendous World Cup campaign. I'm not going to defend that at all. But again, we're talking about a team that was a VAR sketch job away from making a European championship in the last edition of the tournament. I mean, Lord, you got me looking up Denmark results lately. I'm pretty sure they also finished second in their Nations League group. They did, in fact, finish second in 12 points above France and 1 point behind Croatia. I thought this was going to be a fun video, and here I am getting emotional. Denmark is not an absolutely elite national team, but again, to say that you could transplant the United States and put them in all the fixtures that Denmark has participated in, and to say that they are going to finish second in their group at the Nations League and beat France twice in the same calendar year, beat Austria twice in the same calendar year, we just have to be more realistic. I'm not saying the U.S. couldn't upset Denmark. If they played 10 times, they're winning some of those games, bro. But you are supposed to be one of the voices of U.S. soccer, and it's okay to be confident, but don't be arrogant. And this is a little arrogant. All right, let's keep going.
Poland. So this is, I think, in the same way that this summer we look at the U.S. as a solid number 2 team within their group, and this is obviously a Copa America with South American teams. I think they would be a solid number 2 team in any of these groups that we have here. What about you?
Yeah.
Thank God he did not say that they are favorites over Uruguay. I'm glad I didn't hear that.
Depends on the draw. It depends on
Sure,
what pot they would be in and who they would replace in those groups that you're looking at. But generally speaking, I think there's probably 8 to 10 European teams that I think are clearly better than the U.S. So you're probably looking at getting out of a group and then either round of 16 or if you catch a break, maybe quarterfinals. I think that's how I would look at it.
Yeah. So
Okay, 8 to 10 teams better than the United States. You guys let me know in the comments if you agree with that. That sounds a little low, but let's go ahead and check together right now. All right, let's go group by group together. I got Group A here. Actually, you know what? Let's do it with the pots so I know who the US would replace. Okay, this might be better because I can see who the pot 2 team was. Okay, so the pot 2 team was Hungary in this case. So you swap that with the United States. They got Germany, Scotland, Switzerland. Bro, that is tough, man. That is, woo! I mean, there is no guarantee the United States makes it out of that group. The Copa America group with Panama and Bolivia and Uruguay is exponentially easier than this crap right here. Let's take it to Group B. Oof. Hold on. Glasses coming back on. This might get ugly, folks. Who's the pot 2? I'm going to assume it's Italy. Italy was pot 4. It was Albania in this case. You've got to be kidding. So you would actually replace Albania with the United States? So they would have Spain, Croatia, and Italy? Yep, that's 3 L's right there. No, I'm not even kidding. That's 3 L's right there. Group C, let's take it there. Who is the pot 2 in here? Looks like it is Denmark. So you replace Denmark. They got Serbia, England, Slovenia. See, here's the difference between the Copa and the Euros. The Euros, because there's just more teams, the pot 3s are just tougher than they are at the Copa America. I mean, the pot 3s at the Copa America are Peru, Paraguay, Venezuela, and Panama. And right here in the 3 groups we've looked at, we got Serbia, Croatia, in Switzerland. There's levels to this, y'all. You can be a confident US fan, but you got to be thinking at most it's a 50% chance you make it out of these groups. And Group B, 15% chance. Like, it's just not happening. Group D, you got Poland. I mean, damn, dude. Oh, man. Who the hell is Austria's the pot 2. So it'd be Poland, Netherlands, France. I do think the US is better than Poland. I think they get the dub there. Netherlands already showed the US who was daddy at the last World Cup. Do we need a reminder? And France, if I even need to make an argument, you should honestly just click off the video. I'm gonna breeze through this next one. It's Group E. We got, looks like Romania and Turkey are the last 2 in here. I think Group E would be the most manageable, and I do think the United States would make it out. I do think they could beat Slovakia and Ukraine and probably either lose to Belgium or, I don't know, maybe get an ugly draw, something like that. And then in Group F, the Georgians, United States is better than Georgia. Czech Republic, I mean, that's the group right there. Can you beat the Czech Republic? I'm not super confident. I don't think the Czechs would like blow the US out of the water, but that would be a tough game. And then Portugal, as long as they don't fumble it, that's probably an L. So saying that there's about 10 teams better than the United States, I think is probably accurate. I might push it to 12, maybe even 13, not because I'm a hater, but some of y'all will say that. And for a hypothetical European championship, it does very much depend on what group the United States would fall into if they're going to make it out.
yeah. So I mean, those are some of the comps. I think. Yeah. Does the style of the U.S. is it better suited to a Euros or better suited to a Copa?
Interestingly enough, with all the players now playing in Europe.
That's a very good question. Is the United States play style more suited to the Copa America or the Euros? You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think I'm going to lean Euros, and I say that because I think European football is, on average, a little slower, a little more tactical, a little more controlled, and a little less chaotic. And I think the more chaos you can inflict in the game at times, I think it could really discombobulate the U.S. men's national team. Now, that does not mean that the United States would have more success in the Euro than at the Copa America. I'm not saying that at all, because we saw a very controlled annihilation of the U.S. men's national team at the hands of the Dutch in the World Cup, where basically Van Gaal was just playing mousetrap, but with Greg Berhalter, and it worked to perfection, I might add. Although if you ask Greg, we dominated, right?
In Europe, you could argue that it's better suited for the Euros.
Interesting. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll see at some point. I mean, look,
I would agree
have
with
they
that.
ever done guest teams when it comes to the Euros? Or are they above that? Or,
Yeah, I don't believe so.
oh, we wouldn't possibly.
No, the European Championship has not done invitees Brother, there's like 56 nations. This man, okay.
Tarnish the Euros by having guest teams.
You know, unlike the World Cup, where there's never truly been a Cinderella champion, in the Euros you have had Greece in 2004, Denmark in 1992. So it's not crazy at the Euros that a team like that could get on a run and win the whole thing.
So I'm going to say, final answer here when it comes to Chase, that the U.S. would get out of their group, and I'm not even going to say that they're going to win their knockout stage game. That's where they would come up again.
See, the thing I don't like about that comment is Cinderella runs happen in every single tournament. Zambia won the AFCON. Qatar back-to-back Asian Cup champions. Chile repeated the Copa America. But I think to use that as a supporting argument and part of your evidence that the United States could win a European championship, to me, says you don't really have much else to say. To me, that's like having a discussion about, how far will the United States go at the next World Cup, and someone being like, Morocco. I mean, look at Morocco. Morocco made it. Do you remember when Morocco made the semifinals? Bro, it's not the same. And just because one team did it one time doesn't mean it's ever going to happen again.
Up against some of these teams that you're talking about, Mossy, where as good as they are, the U.S. is not as good as them. And it bears repeating. Those are the types of teams and those are the types of games that Greg Berhalter has been charged with winning. And at some point, it can't be as quick when we just say, yeah, but we're not getting past that team. And who knows? Maybe in the next couple of years, they find a way to be able to do it. Maybe this summer, they find a way to be able to do it because there's the potential when they get out of their group of playing some very, very, very good teams and teams that on paper people would say the U.S. is not as good as them. They got to find a way to beat.
See, okay, he's not wrong here, but this is my biggest issue with every argument I've heard about the United States going far in 2026, doing well at a hypothetical European championship, or making a semifinal or a final at the Copa America. Greg Berhalter has been in charge of this team for 6 years, and we have seen approximately 0 upsets. The sheer talent on this U.S. men's national team, in most cases, against most opponents, is at least enough to get a draw, which is important, and that's an indicator of a good team, and the U.S. is a good team. But what they are not is a great team, and outside of that, they're not a team that punches above their weight. I talked about this in our Copa America Group D preview, and by the way, if you haven't seen our Copa America Group prediction videos, you need to pause this, sit down, and grab some popcorn, because 1, each of them are 2 hours long, and 2, I think y'all would really like them, so make sure you check those out. And one last shameless plug for the channel, we are doing daily uploads here for the entire Copa America, live streams, match reactions, all that good stuff, so if you don't want to miss that, again, hit subscribe. And what I was saying in that Group D preview is I was comparing the U.S. men's national team to Costa Rica. Costa Rica are a team that are undoubtedly less talented than the United States, right? Nobody's going to argue that. But if you look at the history of Los Ticos and you look at some of the results that they've been able to get at multiple tournaments throughout the years, it is impressive. They've beaten teams like Italy, Uruguay, and Japan at World Cups. They've beaten Colombia at Copa Americas. They regularly beaten the United States in World Cup qualifying. These are games that, with all due respect, Costa Rica have no business winning. But what do? They pull the upset. They punch up. They elevate their game when they play better opposition. That is something that in 6 years under Greg Berhalter, the United States has not demonstrated a single time. That is arguably the biggest question around this team at the Copa America is, are we finally going to see a statement win? Is the U.S. finally going to beat a team that on paper they probably shouldn't? I've said this many times about Greg Berhalter. If there is one thing that he is exceptionally good at, besides behind the back bounce passes, it's doing exactly what the expectation is with this U.S. squad. But to close the loop on this European conversation, the United States would probably be the 13th or 14th best team at the European Championship unless they got an unbelievably favorable draw in the round of 16. They would lose, in my opinion. And the reason they would lose is because, 1, the Euros is pretty freaking hard, and number 2, the United States, again, under Berhalter, always hits about expectations. And the expectation for the United States at a European Championship would probably be the knockouts. And I'm not going to sit here on this microphone and say the U.S. is making a quarterfinals or a semifinals at a European Championship until they pull a godforsaken upset against anyone. Anyone! It doesn't need to be a European team, bro. I mean, beat Senegal. Like, do something. I've had enough, bro.
Way to beat those teams where a lot of people say that you're not as good as them.
That's it for Ask Alexi. We move on to One for the Road.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we not watching the rest of that episode. With all due respect, guys, those are my thoughts on if the United States could win a European Championship. Look, I think these questions are fun to ask. It's fun to talk about. Would the U.S. win the Asian Cup? Would they win the AFCON? What would they do? Blah, blah, blah. But has anybody else been watching the NBA playoffs? I mean, I really got to go Rudy Gobert, Evan Mobley, Nikola Jokic on this because, I'm sorry. I'm just not having any of this. That's all I got today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. And again, if you don't want to miss the Copa America and Euro content here on Deadball TV, make sure you hit subscribe. Check out our social media links in the description of this video and drop your thoughts down below in the comments. Where does the U.S. go out in the European Championship? I want to know, and I'll see you guys in the next one.